Hey guys! So, in this video, I want to tell you about something really cool that I'm learning about here at the gardening course at the farm, Grand Hasiken. If you know it, you love it. Um, so, I'm doing a 9-day immersion, learning all about gardening and permaculture and all the fun stuff because, of course, I have my land here in Guatemala. And I don't know about you, but I haven't had really any experience working in the garden. Um, or knowing like what to do with a garden. So one of the best things and the coolest things that I've been learning here is about plant propagation, which is all about how to make new plants. So I didn't know this, but there are actually, let's see if I can remember them all. There are 5 different ways to make new plants. There is sexual reproduction, which is where you're combining a male and a female to create a new genetic um, sample. And there's also something called asexual reproduction, which is essentially cloning. I don't mean sheep, I mean plants. And this is happening all the time in nature, which is actually really cool. That cloning is actually like kind of like a normal part of the life cycle. Hi guys, hi everybody. Yeah, you like my necklace? I got this the other day. Oh, hi. Hi, sweetie. Hi. Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. I actually don't know whose dog this is. So we're here at the farm, and there are a lot of different dogs. Stella's here with me, but she was just upstairs taking a little nap on the couch. So 5 different ways you can propagate a plant. This is very interesting, especially if you want to have more plants for your garden, but you don't want to go buy them all the time. Especially because everything is so expensive, especially now. Crazy with the inflation that's going on right now. Everything here has become more expensive. But okay, so the best thing we can do is save money where we can. So the first thing is you ask a plant, does it have fruit or flowers? And if it does, that means you can get seeds from it. So you can, when the plant goes to seed, because I actually didn't know this. Now it seems really obvious, but I didn't know this before. But I'd see plants. I'm like, where do the seeds come from? You leave the plant long enough, and it goes to seed, right? And so then you can harvest the seeds, and those seeds are an example of sexual reproduction. So that's new genetic material, and that's the only propagation method that will give you a new genetic material. But otherwise, you're taking the same genes of the same plant and you're cloning it. So the next way, and this is cool, is it upright and woody? So a rosemary bush, when given enough time, it becomes kind of like a strong stem that's kind of like woody, and it's very stiff and upright. So you can actually cut that at these little nodes, and you want at least like 6 inches, and then you can. There are some other steps, like you have to use like a rooting formula, and we're learning about an all-natural one using cinnamon, 1 teaspoon cinnamon, to cinnamon, aloe, apple cider vinegar, and water. You mix that together, and that helps the plant create roots. So you can cut it, and then here, let me actually show you. We have some samples. So here's our little area where we're just doing the plant propagation before lunch. Okay, so here we go. So these are woody and upright plants, right? So you cut them at a diagonal like this. You want at least 6 inches. You want at least 3 of these nodes. So these nodes are where a root or a shoot can come out of this. So they're actually sensors in the plant, which is really cool. And so if this goes underground, it'll grow roots. And if it's above ground, it'll grow shoots. So this mixture in here, this is the rooting formula. So cinnamon, aloe, apple cider vinegar, and water. And what that's doing is it's disinfecting, it's killing any pathogens, because this is essentially like an open wound on the plant, right? It's killing the pathogens, it's doing some good stuff, and it's stimulating that root growth. So we leave this here overnight, and then tomorrow we're going to put these in sand, and the sand allows it to release the moisture so it doesn't get moldy. And then this will become a new plant. So here we have mulberry, and what else do we have? I can't remember. Mulberry and something else. Oh, Carrie, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, honey. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Carrie Halstead. Happy birthday to you, and many more. So that is the second way. Another way you can propagate plants is it growing? Is it falling over and having roots? So like there's one kind of mint that's kind of like this, sort of like it's almost like a vine-ish that like crawls around along the ground and then puts out these little root systems. So you can take a clipping of that, transplant it, and then it'll grow. It'll start a whole new plant, even though it's technically a clone. So that's the third way. The next way is it surrounded by like baby? So like a banana tree will actually be surrounded by like smaller banana trees. Oh, here, let me show you. Here's an example of one. This isn't a banana tree, but you see how it's like there's this one and then all these like other one, this like little one coming out here. So this is one of the babies. So you can actually dig this up, separate them, and then replant this, and then this little baby will start the whole process over again, which is pretty cool. So a lot of the I have a plant on my deck that's like a kind of like a nice house plant, and it's starting to show all of these different shoots like this. So if I wanted to get more of that plant, instead of going to the garden store or wherever you get your plants, you can just divide that and put the baby in a new pot, and then it'll grow more, which is really exciting. So that's the one, plant division. So we did seed cutting, air layering. That's the one where if it is falling over and putting out roots, you can cut it and then just put it someplace else. Plant division, and then the last one is something called root division. So you ask the question, wait, you don't sneeze, but I need to. Whoa, excuse me. That was intense. So the other question you ask, so these are like the 5 questions you ask a plant to see how it wants to be reproduced. This question is a little bit subjective, but it's like, is there not much going on above the surface? So a really like low plant that's like kind of wide and like comfrey. So comfrey is a great example of this. Well, this is, you can't really see it, but comfrey is like, it's a very low bushy plant. It's not very tall, not much is going on the surface. And so we actually dug out the root system, and then we chopped up the roots into these pieces, like a 1-inch piece. And so this root division system, you can just put this in the ground and it'll start growing a whole new plant. We just divided the roots. So cool, right? So if you like to garden, there are ways that you can create more plants without having to go to Home Depot or your local garden store and buying them. You can propagate the plants yourself. So if you know someone who has a really nice garden, you can actually walk through their garden and you can take clippings and cuttings and then take those home, and following these principles, you can clone them. You can generate your own plants for your garden, which is like pretty cool, right? Yeah, Trisha, isn't this cool? I love it. I'd never seen a necklace like this. You know, I've seen a lot of these beaded necklaces, but never one like this. So I'm glad I got it because I'm actually wearing it. Yeah, Lynn says she's glad I'm taking these classes. I really need the basics. I really did need the basics. I didn't know anything about gardening and plants. The only thing I knew is that I like being around plants. So it's cool because at Casa Curativa, I'm taking like the herbalism part, you know, learning about like the medicine, and then here at the farm, I'm learning about how to actually do the basics of like growing the plants and tending the plants. And so we have a design project we're going to be doing for this course. It's like kind of like our class project. I'm excited about that. I have some ideas for a plot that I want to work on, and I'll tell you more when I have more information about that. And yeah, it just feels like I'm now doing this like groundwork to get these like really basic things in place that will be really beneficial for the future. So it's like laying the foundation for the future through, yeah, just a lot of learning. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Jane. Jesse says, I live vicariously through you. You're such an inspiration. You know, Jesse, that was one of my intentions when I first started making my videos, is I wanted to give people an experience to have and adventure vicariously through my experience with the hope of either inspiring you to go on your own, to follow your heart wherever it may lead you, or just to give you, if you can't leave home for whatever reason, just to give you the opportunity to live a little through me. So that's part of like the service I feel like I'm offering the world. Oh, hi Bev, good afternoon. Cool. Yeah, Peg, I'm happy that you're appreciating it. So here, let's go into the garden and I'll show you a little bit around here. So, let me show you what we did today. So, we've been learning all about soil and how to make healthy soil, and oh my gosh, coming to understand healthy soil really gives me so much perspective on why people are so unhealthy, because we're eating foods grown in essentially dead soil packed with chemicals and poisons. Do you know that the pesticides that are used on conventional conventional farming practices, those came out of like the war, like World War or two. It was like Nazi technology that was originally used to poison people and then became something that was sprayed on our food. So in a way, it's like the legacy of the Nazis is in your food, and that is one of the contributing reasons why people are so unhealthy. So one of the things we're learning about here is how to bring back life to the soil. So every time you harvest food, like crops from soil, you're taking out organic matter. So one of the best things that we can do, and something I'm going to be striving to do on my land, is putting that good stuff back into the soil. Because when we give back to the earth, that is that reciprocity. That's about coming into right relationship. Because right now we are experiencing the symptoms of a system that is just taking from the earth, right? And in order to keep taking from the earth, it's like we have to roofie her. It's like we have to just do really bad things. It's not sustainable. And I believe that if we were to turn our health around, we really need to start leaning into these new systems, which in a way they're new for us, but this is like the way that the earth works. The earth is always like, leaves are decomposing, dead things are decomposing, there's bacteria, there's like a healthy ecosystem of bacteria, fungus, even viruses are actually important for our health, which is kind of weird, but also in like the bigger picture, like they're part of like our health. So, oh, thanks, Angie. Uh, Marilyn, don't the Guatemalans use human waste as fertilizer? I would not identify that as a traditional practice here in Guatemala. No, I wouldn't say that. Yeah. Ah, Stacy and Missy and Goldie. Oh, hi, honey. Thank you guys for the stars. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Shauna, so much environmental degradation, disconnect from nature, making us so sick. Actually, you want to know something interesting, Shauna? One of the girls learning in this course with me here at the farm, she's actually a nurse from the United States. She came here just for this course. And she said that what she's seeing in the hospitals in the United States, people suffering from COVID, the worst people suffering from COVID, like if she were to identify it, they're the people who are people with diabetes, people obese, and people with like internal inflammation. And kind of if we had a whole conversation, if you reduce that down, it would be the people who are most out of tune with nature, who are living most in opposition to the natural flows of nature and the way energy really wants to move. And so, I mean, that is just, you're setting yourself up for disease and discontent by not honoring the truth of life and the laws of nature. So there's a lot. I'm learning so much right now. I'm really inspired by the soil. And honestly, coming out of this and what I've been learning, I think truly one of the best things that you and I as humans can do is become ecologically literate, like learn about ecology, learn about how nature works, and make compost. Make compost and put the compost in the earth. It's like give back to the earth, because we've been in a relationship where we've been taking from her so much, and the symptoms that we're experiencing now is a result of that system of taking from the earth. So one of the most healing things that we could do for ourselves, our communities, and our planet is to really just start giving back, All right, we are coming together as a class now. So this is what we were doing the soil stuff today. We were making soil. This is a worm box here. Oh my God, so much compost. It's so much. It's so much. I wish I could just download in your brains everything I've been learning because it's been so amazing. But you know what? I can't directly give you the lessons that I've been learning, but I'm going to endeavor to put them into practice in my life and then teach you that way. So that's my intention here, to take these lessons and then live them and then teach you that way. So stay tuned, because that's what we're doing here on this channel. And it's going to take time. And that was actually one thing that we learned about. You know, with compost, you're taking these like raw organic materials like goat poop and straw, and you're turning it into this like precious, life-giving material that plants can use to create life and nutrition, right? And so there's a certain process of alchemy that's going on. It's you're taking a raw material and you're turning it into something, the highest version of itself. And one thing we learned, one of the most important factors in that equation is time. Time is part of what makes the magic. So that's gave me a deeper appreciation. Sometimes I want to rush my process, right? I want to get to the good stuff right away. You know, I want to alchemize myself to be the highest version of myself, but you literally need to have time as one of the ingredients in that alchemical process. You don't get to rush it. You can't rush the process of alchemy. And I think that's what I'm learning about here so much is like, I love alchemy. I love this idea of, you know, turning something of a baser, lower, denser vibration into its highest version. And here on the farm, we're learning about that, but in such like a tangible, physical way. It's really exciting. Oh, here's comfrey I was telling you guys about. So this is the one that we dug up the root system. So this was the principle. There's not much going on above ground. So it's not very high. It's not very tall plants, but it's kind of like low like that. So we dug up the roots, then you cut those roots, and then that's root division, so you can get more of these plants. And these plants are actually really good. They're called biodynamic accumulators. So they have really deep tap roots that go deep into the earth, and they drop minerals. And something about 17, comfrey contains 14 of the 17 minerals necessary to create life or something. It's like very mineral rich, this plant, comfrey, and it's very hardy and it grows really, really easily, even in like kind of difficult conditions. So this is a really wonderful plant to have in your garden. Yeah, nature's gold. All right, let's go see what's happening over here. Yeah. This is the ruta. It smells really good. Oh, and there's a baby goat. Oh, let's look at this guy. Can I? Hi, baby. Hi, honey. So, this guy's struggling a little. He's really weak. His mom has something called mastitis, where she's not producing enough milk. And so, the sibling unfortunately passed away. And this little guy, we're giving him some extra love. I'm hoping he'll be okay. Yeah, Chrissy Linford. Chrissy says, comfrey is sometimes used on the skin to treat wounds and reduce inflammation from sprains and broken bones. Comfrey roots contain allotonin, a substance that helps new skin cells grow, along with other substances that reduce inflammation and keep skin healthy. Chrissy, you are absolutely spot on. Comfrey is an amazing ally when it comes to healing skin problems. In fact, maybe you've seen, if you've ever been into herbal medicine, a comfrey salve is like a really great healing ointment. So that's a great thing to have in your pocket or medicine cabinet. Instead of just going for like the Neosporin, you can go for a comfrey salve. Okay, let's see what's going on. Luna, can't have the goat. Nice. What are you eating? Oh my God, what is that?
Bar.
Looks great. Looks
Do you want to taste?
Yes. Thanks.
Peanut butter jelly.
Oh my God, yes.
bucket here. We'll reuse it because it's, you know, it's still good material. Plenty of micro.
I just lit up and I was like, what is he looking at? For jelly bar. So good.
Oh my god. Alright, Beach.
Hi, Terry.
I don't know if the soil needs sifting. Let's look.
What's the first step?
What are we doing here?
Right now, we are finally sifting the abono, the beautiful compost. The beautiful compost. Remember, we don't want any large things within the potting mix. They're going to potentially obstruct any new fresh roots from pushing through into the soil. We want just like the really fine humus, the fine organic matter. So we're going to sift half a bucket of compost, half a bucket of sand. Combine that with like about a fifth a bucket of biochar and a fifth a bucket of white sand to make this the perfect potting mixture. Just to make sure
we're making potting soil right now.
Maybe handful by handful. How do you want to do? Do this best structure, isn't it?
This is Eric. He's recording the course for the online course. If you do get the online course, it's filmed by this handsome man here.
Do we have access to that material?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
I really want access.
Yeah.
Because I've got a mind like a Steve.
Very good. Watch out.
Right.
Great. So I'll just give you a little explanation of what we're doing. So right now we are making potting soil mixture. So we're trying to create the ideal conditions for plants to grow, right? So it can't be too compact, like clay. If you have like really clay soil, what does that mean? It means that the particles are really tiny and they pack together and they compact and become very dense. Now if you're a carrot trying to grow, you don't want to push through, you can't really push through all those compact particles. So we'll bring in stuff like sand and the organic matter from the compost, and that creates space, it creates air, it holds air, it holds water, right? So that's the problem with a lot of modern soil that is really lacking. It's like every time you take the carrot out or the lettuce or anytime you harvest a vegetable, you're removing organic material. So we're doing a process to actually put the organic material back in. What that does is it helps the soil retain moisture, retain those nutrients, and create kind of the ideal conditions for life. So that's what we're trying to do here, is we're creating the conditions for life to occur. And a lot of times that's what you have to do. You create the conditions and then life will happen. You create the conditions and then life finds a way. So you can't force life, but you can create the container. So that's what I'm learning how to do here, which is really inspiring. So, anyways, I'm gonna join my classmates and get my hands in the soil. And thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, we're learning a lot about soil. Soil is essentially weathered rock that has organic matter. So the rock is the minerals. So minerals, organic matter, water, air, and something else. No, I think that's about it. And then that provides the nutrients for plants to grow, right? So, so much. There's so much, guys. All right, I'm gonna join my classmates, and I will see you guys soon. Hi, Carrie. I love you, honey. All right, bye, guys. See you soon.